Next on MLR Weekly, 15s and 7s with Old Glory DC co-owner Chris Dunlavey, David Barry, co-owner of the New England Free Jacks and full owner of the Rugby Town Sevens champions, the Ramblin Jesters, plus LA Sevens stuff with Steve the Lizard Lewis. Rugby Wrap-Up brought to you in part by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, the world's best rugby pub, and Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle. Hello again and welcome to this week's MLR Weekly as presented by Rugby Wrap-Up. I'm Matt McCarthy in New York City, and we have a really good show for you this week. We have part owner of the New England Free Jacks and full owner of Rugby Town Sevens winners, the Ramblin Jesters, and Mr. David Barry. We also have Mr. Chris Dunlavey, co-owner of Old Glory DC. Chris, welcome to the show.
Matt, great to see you, brother. Thanks for having me on as always.
Chris, let's just get the Sheehy Auto Stores pop quiz out of the way, right out of the gate. Sheehy.com. The question this week is, why is your co-owner partner, Paul Sheehy, not coming on the show? Here are your multiple choice answers. He's selling and servicing so many cars, he doesn't have time to be on the show. B, busy working the 2023 season. C, he was afraid to come on and be bullied by me. D, he is on vacation in an undisclosed location, enjoying time with his family. And E, all of the above.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I every one of those sounded like they hit the nail on the head. So I'd give you an E, all of the above. Particularly the hiding out on vacation with his family right now, but working hard for the 23 season. The guy doesn't let up. I'll tell you, he's very committed to making sure we start and end that season the way we wanted to.
All right, so you indeed do win this week's Sheehy Auto Stores pop quiz. I'll call him up and maybe get you a deal on a car. All right, and just finishing the shameless plug, I am a customer and very happy with my Volkswagen Taos. All right, let's get to the questions now. You guys have a relationship with the Scottish Rugby Union. What's that like compared to previous years? Are they more involved? Are they going to be less involved? What's the story?
Scottish Rugby joined as a full partner in Old Glory back in early 2020, and has been a board member alongside Paul Sheehy and me, represented by Mark Dodson, their chief executive, ever since. And they've always been key to our decision making and have been helping to steer the organization right alongside us. But I'd say within the last year, they've really engaged much more heavily in support on the rugby side of the house. Their high performance director, Jim Mallender, has gotten very involved in spending time here and evaluating our operation, our coaching, our players, and in fact, even brought in other resources from contacts they have from around the world to do similar specialized evaluations and inputs. So all the work we're doing now for the 2023 season and really over the next 5 years, which we're planning for, is informed by all the work we're doing on our player roster, our coaching staff development, and our long-term management strategies, all very much informed by these resources Scottish Rugby is bringing to bear. It's been a fantastic partnership with them.
Okay, and you're here to reveal your new head coach.
Coming soon to a theater near you, Matt.
So close. Thought I'd slip it in there and you'd come out with it.
It was a
You're
good
sharp,
try.
Dunlavey. You're sharp.
It was a good try.
What about academy programs, youth programs?
Doing very well. In fact, I think we're at the cutting edge of progress in the MLR. This past year, our academy and grassroots program, which is run by Tim Brown, and which we nicknamed Young Glory collectively, we fielded 2 U23 sides, both a men's and a women's, U19 sides, both boys and girls. Each of those played, I want to say, 4 games over the course of this last season, and are already into some academy game seasons for this year, and extended some great connectivity we've always had with the grassroots programs at the youth and high school levels in our area. I think I say we've always had. Reality is Paul Sheehy and Sheehy Auto Stores have been big supporters of rugby in our region for a long time. And I think that kind of cut the path for Old Glory or Young Glory to pick up the ball and expand the support with everything from coaching clinics and advice to teach the coaches in our region how to teach the game, to in some cases providing specific resources to support clubs to grow and build their membership and build their breadth of participation. So it's really exciting to see that launched. We partnered with the Free Jacks and MLR to conduct a summer camp at Kutztown University over this summer that had terrific turnout and some great coaching brought over from the Leinster system in Ireland, for example, to help teach young Americans the game from the place that plays it best. And it's been a really exciting thing to see all the things Tim and our team are doing with the grassroots and academy programs.
Getting us back to the MLR draft 2022. Tell us about your philosophy on the draft, who you got, and going forward, what your expectations are of those players.
I'll tell you, I almost sound, I realize I may look kind of silly saying this, but I was almost surprised at how well the draft turned out for us. We had a very clear prioritization of players we wanted to pick up. We did have a little bit of focus on our areas of need and not just the best players available. But we got pretty close to both with what we ended up with. Our thanks to a couple of smart trades, we had 5 picks in the draft over the 3 rounds. With the first one, got exactly the guy we wanted to walk out of there with, Calixto Martinez, who's a prop who's awfully close to ready to start in the MLR if he's not ready to play already.
He's a tank. I mean, he's just a specimen.
Yeah, he is. Great movement on the field, great defense, and an absolute bull in the scrums. I think the thing about the college draft for MLR is, at least to my way of thinking, we're still in the process of shifting to a reality where American colleges will be the major pipeline of talent into the MLR. We're still much more dependent on international players than the sports that use the draft more heavily, like the NFL and the NBA. So we're typically not looking for guys in the draft that we project as starters this year. You know, this guy's got to be an impact player now or we failed. It's much more about, do we have guys who are developable into top level MLR players over the next 2, 3, 4 years. And you know, I feel like we got very lucky with some of the guys that were available at the places where we picked. And we feel like everybody we've drafted has that kind of basic capabilities to be a top rank MLR player.
Debulis just came out of nowhere basically and had an impact, getting thrown into the fire at 15 and 10.
Yeah.
You know, where, you know, now he's got that under his belt, that confidence. I know he's just coming back from an injury. I caught up with him at the Can-Ams, but he's close to getting back to 100%. But he's also got that confidence now coming in that he can play in this league. And
yeah, he's proved it to himself and to everybody else that he's got the capability to deliver. You know, getting called up to the Eagles and getting a shot at the All Blacks didn't hurt his confidence. I think, you know, even as tough as that game was for the Eagles against the All Blacks, guys like him and Jack Ascaro are loose head coming up also.
A lot of people have their eyes on him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's going to be a terrific player for a number of years. Corey Daniel, who ended up leading the league in tackles this year, you know, a converted wrestler who was not a rugby player before he came out to an Old Glory game at one of those exhibition games I mentioned, and is now, you know, obviously a very capable guy in the league. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Matt, that actually, you know, this is part of a program we plan to continue to grow over time of taking our younger, promising American players and giving him a preseason over in Scotland with the Glasgow Warriors. This is another one of the benefits of our partnership with Scotland. And to hear these guys talk about their experience over there, Jack Ascara says it's the best developmental thing he's done in rugby so far.
Absolutely.
The guys that have been over there this summer have just been marveling over the way the trainings are handled, the fitness level that guys come in with, the professionalism guys come up with. So they're really learning how to be professionals at the highest level by going through this experience. And it's our intent to continue growing that program and growing young Americans into the top quality rugby players in the world.
All right, Chris, I appreciate your time, but I got a final question for you. Just give us all the skinny on what's happening with LA and Austin. Just please, once and for all. I've been asking the owners. I'm asking you as an owner, please just give me some, throw me a bone.
Matt, I would just say everything is guilt-tastic out there.
All right. Okay, that works. That works.
I will offer you this. I try to avoid reading up too much social media and Reddit and those kinds of things, but I have seen enough chatter out there to know I can appreciate the level of curiosity that our fans have, the league's fans have, and how much they are curious to know what's all the details of what's been going on with those two teams. And I can say, although I hope it's obvious why nobody from the league is able to comment a lot on the situation that's going on. I will say that the fans should maintain faith that there are good reasons for the things that have happened, and I remain very confident that everything is going to get sorted to everybody's satisfaction, and the situation as it has evolved will be resolved favorably for everybody concerned. 11, 12, or 13 teams in 2023 if you're a gambling man. Yeah, I'm going to stop there. No comment.
Oh, come on. All right. It's always better to leave them wanting more, right?
There you
Chris?
go.
All right, Mr. Chris Dunlavey, best of luck. Hope to see you soon.
Thanks. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with David Barry of the New England Free Jacks and Ramblin' Jesters.
Selling or trading in your vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. With Easy Trade, start online or visit us in store. We want your vehicle, and we'll give you up to 125% of KBB value.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
And we are back with Mr. David Barry. David is the owner of the Ramblin' Jesters, who just won Rugby Town Sevens. But because this is MLR Weekly, we wouldn't have him on the show for that reason alone. He's also one of the owners of the New England Free Jacks. David, welcome to MLR Weekly.
Great to be here, Matt. Thanks for inviting me.
And David, I understand that you're on a little bit of a road trip. You're on your way from Rugby Town Sevens to LA, and this finds you in Las Vegas.
Yes, myself and my third son, Shane, decided we'd wind our way slowly back to Vegas to LA, including Vegas and Moab and the Grand Canyon along the route.
Are you going to lose your ownerships in these teams in Vegas? Is that what's happening here?
Well, we'll see. I'm actually going to back my son's poker ability, which is pretty impressive. So we're going to see how that goes.
Fair enough. And we're talking about Shane Barry, ladies and gentlemen. You might recognize that name as a draft pick of the Seattle Seawolves. David, your son has been drafted to play in professional rugby.
Yeah, I was with him on Thursday night when the news broke, and he's absolutely super excited about the opportunity to get to Seattle and hopefully be on the end of a JP Smith pass or two.
JP Smith, of course. I like the way you're reincorporating our guest JP Smith. What are you going to do when the Free Jacks are playing the Seawolves and your son's on the pitch?
You've asked me this question before about Kean, and it's the same answer, which is I will be Switzerland.
I doubt that. This is a whole different animal.
Well, yeah, no, it's obviously my my commitment is to the Free Jacks, but of course, you're at times when you have one of your children playing. If he was lucky enough to be selected in an MLR game, that has to happen first. But I'd like the Free Jacks to win by a point, with Shane scoring, a couple of tries, 2 drop goals, and a few conversions. But the Free Jacks take home the match points.
All right, I like that. It's still winning. Your team is winning, and your son is succeeding. Good. I like that. It's a good answer.
And I don't mind. They can have the bonus. They can have the bonus point as well. Maybe he gets 4 tries because they're in the other conference, so it's not too difficult to wish them well beyond not wanting them to win the game.
A head-to-head match. I understand. It's a good problem to have.
Indeed.
Congratulations, sir. Well done. Also, congratulations are due because your team, the Ramblin Jesters, won the championship in Rugby Town Sevens.
We did. Very excited. Great weekend. Head is a little bit sore this morning, as with some of the players. And of course, we had I think we had 7 MLR players in our 13-man squad. We had a fantastic weekend. I had a cadre of 4 Free Jacks who did awesome. And then I had also Bailey Wilson from Utah. And then, of course, Kian, my son, and Eric Naposki from the Jackals.
That's a very good squad. So
yeah.
I was kind of off the grid, didn't get to watch much, but who's the one team that scared you the most?
Oh, undoubtedly the USA under-23s. And as I said at the end of the tournament, you wouldn't necessarily have the USA under-23s down there as the biggest threat you'll face or the biggest worry, because the quality of that competition is so substantial. But they were, I'll say, with the exception of us, the best team in the tournament, and could easily have beaten us in that final. A call or a bounce of a ball and things go different. They were exceptional. What Colton Cariaga and Ben Pinkelman have done with that team is super impressive. And I think USA Sevens Rugby is in a great place because of those are the people that are in the pipeline, those kids. It's looking good for the future.
You're a part of the Golden Eagles, a group that helps support USA Rugby, kind of behind the scenes in a lot of ways. What is your thought process on USA Rugby World Cup 7s and 15s right now?
Obviously, myself and others are heading down to Cape Town to watch the Sevens World Cup in a few weeks. So that's really exciting. Hopefully we have a good LA Sevens, which has set us up for that, though it's going to be difficult with both New Zealand and South Africa in our group. But that aside, when you turn to the 15s program, obviously very disappointed with the result of the Chile home and away legs. But understandable given some of the challenges and constraints that Gary faces. I think I'm pretty hopeful we're going to do well in the repechage, particularly if USA Rugby can put the players and squad in a position to perform, because I've no doubt the other 3 teams will be preparing substantially and collectively for that tournament. But I do think we have the talent. It's not a disaster if they don't qualify, but I think in terms of the momentum that's being built, including through the MLR, it'd be really crucial for this for us to get qualification.
These teams in this repechage are no easy wins. Portugal's playing well. Hong Kong, they put 22 points up on Tonga, and Tonga is a good side, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. And you got Kenya. Each one of these teams could present a problem, and it's 3 matches in the space of 3 or 4 weeks. And are they going to have matches prior? I mean, that's the big deal. The continuity problem, the fact that these guys aren't assembling together, that's a big deal. You talked about some of the struggles that Gary Gold has to go through, but are they going to get more matches?
Yeah, I know there's some good people looking at what the options are. One thought is that they use the Eagles for the APC matches, which the selects did last year. That's a possibility. And And I'm sure there are calls going out to other international nations to see if they can do us all a favor and give us some opportunity to prepare. But I do think Gary faces somewhat unique challenges. I've got no doubt the 3 teams he's competing against have got a lot of national and government support and putting them in a position best to compete. We're probably not getting enough support. Indeed, I think I doubt we could encourage John Bobbitt to extend what he's already doing so fabulously for the Sevens program, but they need their own golden eagles, I think, if it's going to allow them to compete on a level playing field. I see them as the favourites for that repechage, but that's not to say it isn't going to be difficult.
You're part owner of the New England Free Jacks. You've got some stuff going on with LA and Austin. I've got to ask you, what's your take on the situation? What can you tell us?
I've got no information to impart, I'm afraid, but I can tell you I'm really hopeful that we'll see LA and Austin competing next year, and those players competing next year. That's certainly what all of the owners that I talk to are trying to help happen, and I'm pretty hopeful it will happen.
David, Stephen Lewis was part of your coaching staff on this Ramblin Jesters victory tour or tournament, I should say. He's also the GM of Rugby New York, who won the championship. How insufferable is he in social media, taking all the glory?
No, he's entitled to a good share of it, I have to say. He did a great job this weekend. I'm sure he's taken all the glory. He's definitely deserves a good share of the credit. There was a couple of dodgy moments where he was walking around in his Rugby New York t-shirt or his Rugby New York polo, but we quickly got that resolved.
First off, thanks to David Barry for his kind invite once again to join the Jesters. It's a great week. Most of the credit goes on the coaching side goes to my colleague David Mob Smith, Mobsy, the Zen master. He's just fantastic to work with, and it was just a great week, and we got it right, despite the fact that we had 4 Free Jacks on our side. David's point about inviting New York players, he very kindly did. There's a couple interested, but we couldn't quite pull it off. So hopefully in the future, it will be open to Rugby New York players as well. But in the meantime, we did the business, another title.
And the 3 of us will all be in Los Angeles for the LA Sevens this coming weekend. I'm looking forward to that. Stephen, why don't you give us the skinny on first Rugby Town Sevens and then LA?
Rugby Town Sevens, in my opinion, the best organized tournament in the country, the best level of domestic sevens, certainly below the World Series again. Every year it seems to be slightly higher quality of players across the board. I mean, Jesters, we had a great squad this year, and we had an initial hiccup, and we pulled it out. But there were some great performances. US under-23s went very well. Tsunami Barbarians and Nav Sevens, who won the club championship, were the other semi-finalists. So there was good competition, and it's just a great tournament. So 10th anniversary, long may it continue.
And fellas, I'll ask both of you this, and I don't really expect a name in an answer, but any MLR prospects that you could say, we want them on our team after this tournament? 7
of the squad are already in the MLR, and of course we have our draftee, Shane Barry, heading there.
It's almost 2 different sports now, but it's the 15s thing is such a grind, physically and mentally, for these players. You know, it's 16, and MLR is quite tough. 16 straight games, relatively small squads, so given the salary cap, so you can't rotate a lot or rest a lot. So it's a tough thing to make that transition back and forth, has been for a while, between 7s and 15s. But certainly the raw rugby talent was there, and certainly the US under-23s, there's 3 or 4 or 5 there that piqued my interest that I wasn't really clued in previously. So yes, there's opportunity. David's point is very well made, though. If you're bringing a foreign player in, you only have 10 of them, probably. They have to be bolted down starters. So that's the, can you take a chance on someone crossing over 15s to 7s to 15s? That would be my take.
All right, Stephen, LA Sevens.
The last leg of this year's series. So all to play for. 4 teams mathematically in it to win it. But realistically, Fiji would have to be a strange set of results. So you're looking at South Africa, Australia, and Argentina, who are all log-jammed at the top. Personally, coming out of the Commonwealth Games, South Africa was sizzling hot. They've got over their sort of mid-season, lull. I think they're probably the team to beat. But Australia have hung around. They've had a great year. Argentina, always there. So one of them will be the champions on Sunday night. But to me, it's a three-horse race.
How about the U.S. roster?
Yeah, interesting. Couple of interesting selections from Mike Friday. Recalls for Maka Unafe, who's been gone and with Houston Sabercats all season. He is back in with 13, as is Cody Melfi, who's been out for a while. Still no Carlin Isles. Perry Baker's there. It's an interesting team. Steve Thomason is captaining in place of Kevon Williams, who is out with a foot injury. So it's going to be a tough road to hoe for the US team. Difficult group: New Zealand, South Africa, and our North American neighbors, Canada. So they've got their work cut out for them for sure.
There's only one thing I want to say about the LA Sevens. This absolutely represents the homecoming and home tournament of one Lucas Lecamp, who has absolutely burst on the scene and is, as a 20-year-old nailed on starter for the USA 7 team. It's quite incredible what he's achieved. And I can assure you there's going to be a big cadre of UCLA players, UCLA alumni, and UCLA parents in that crowd, and hopefully tightly packed together at the weekend. I'm looking forward to that. And
the LA Invitational is different this year.
It is. LA Invitational, much like Las Vegas. Last year, it was to a certain extent problematic because the games were played quite a bit away, Orange County, from the main event. This year, they've managed to get the Invitational tournament around the stadium. So that's going to help them in terms of, just coherence and people going to the games back and forth.
And I can't wait to talk to you guys more in LA at the LA Sevens, talking rugby 15s and 7s with Mr. David Barry of the New England Free Jacks and Ramblin Jesters, and Steve Lewis of the Ramblin Jesters and Rugby New York. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you to Chris Dunlavey of Old Glory DC. Thank you for tuning in. Please check out our other shows, including the Rugby Odds, the College Rugby Wrap-Up. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter, and please join our American Red Cross Blood Donor Team.